Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Observable Flutter. I'm your host, Craig Labenz, and today the adventure continues, building out the greatest social media app in this or any age, Chirpy, made with Flutter and Serverpod, of course. And yeah, today I think I'm going to be able to actually wrap up the fundamentals of this data layer, because maybe we'll see how much kind of polish and organization I want to put into it. And then if there's time, we'll move into authorization and actually start adding user accounts that are attached to the records that they create in the database. So far, it's been these post objects that are just kind of disembodied and ownerless, but no more after today. So let's see what is important. The code of conduct, of course. Remember, folks, this is the Flutter community. Let's live up to our good reputation. And I'll leave it at that. All right. Excited to see everyone. Hello. I suppose this was always going to be unavoidable. Is Google going to shut down Flutter? No. There is currently no evidence of that. The layoffs that happened were pretty sad. Actually, they were really, really sad, but they don't really seem to indicate any change, or they actually don't indicate any information at all in how Google thinks about Flutter, as far as the Flutter team can tell. So we are carrying on business as usual. But, obviously, when coworkers who you really enjoy get laid off, that's really, really stinky. That really, really stinks. This is my PG voice. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about where things were, where we last saw our heroes, which is all of us as a team, and where that was is building out, as I said, the greatest social media app in this or any age. I think I need to run dart pub get, because I just stashed the investigations that I did at the end of the last stream. I promised that I would do some research to figure out how to make some of this work, and I came up with a different approach, and that approach works, and then I stashed it, and now I need to run pub-get again, I think. So where are all these? In the server. CD server, dart pub-get. That should work. Oh, yeah. No, there's changes to be made. I'm kind of living in this future world where this parameter that Serverpod is going to get rid of is already gone, but we'll get into that as we go. Let's see. Is there any official boilerplate project? We're kind of working on something in this regard right now, but there's a lot of really good resources from other folks around the community. The Flutter team itself has not produced anything that I would say fully checks this box, but we are working on some more intro resources as you and I speak. Does Google really use Flutter for its internal application? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Google uses Flutter for. But much of it is public. So the Classroom app, the YouTube Create app, Google Earth, Google One, I think some parts of Photos, Google Wallet or Google Pay, or GPay. I forget what it likes to go by. There's a ton of Google apps made with Flutter, and some more coming down the pipe. All right, so that'll be the last that I talk about the kind of state of Flutter and the projects and decisions of people 7 levels above me at Google. I understand the questions are totally reasonable, but yeah, I think I would direct you to Michael Thompson's tweet on Twitter that kind of outlines how we're feeling about it as we move forward. And part of moving forward is doing business as usual stuff like Observable Flutter. So I think I actually just have some changes I need to make here. So let's walk through where I left things last week and what needs to change for it all to work. And yeah. then we'll carry on. So the last episode was all about declarative filtering. I wanted to have really, really simple objects that represent filters that could be applied to records that are already stored in memory on the client, like in the Flutter app running on someone's phone or whatever. And that if there's an outright cache miss, those same exact filters can be sent over to the server, and the server knows how to apply them to the query that goes to Postgres to load the actual objects. So that was the goal of last week. And I got pretty close, but there were two linchpin functions where I had, and I'll just pull up this file. I think it was in the shared filters file. Yes, there's two linchpin functions here, to JSON and from JSON, pretty critical for any data object that needs to go across the wire, that throw unimplemented, because this is just an abstract class and it would have to do some type shenanigans, because I had this idea of a combo filter, which has ands and ors. Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. And this can combine, this can kind of collapse down lists of children into a single expression. And then below that, so actually we see here instances of this combo filter and an or actually appearing. I think I maybe was trying different. Oh no, this is abstract as well. That was the plan. Okay, yeah, you'd actually use and or. And I prefer this, and I wish this worked, but it turns out it's actually just a limitation in the JSON serializable class to do the full level of shenanigans that I'm trying to do in this post filter class. And so I'm not going to walk everyone through the investigations that I did to figure out like why the code that I was writing last week just wouldn't compile when I ran build run or run. It's a known gap in JSON serializable, which is what freezed uses for that. And so I have to find a second approach. And that second approach I did find, and it's kind of different. And I don't like it as much, but it does work. And I like that. So let's see. I'm going to check chat real quick. Oh, yeah. Michael Thompson's tweet. Worth sharing for sure. I partook in the retweeting. Last week, did you miss a live stream? You did not. There wasn't one last week. I was busy doing IO prep and I wasn't able to stream. Does Flutter plan to support development of apps for smart TVs? Yeah, there's stuff going on here. Stay tuned. Remember that Flutter's goal is to support apps anywhere where a device paints pixels, I believe was the sentence. So TVs, primo versions of that. So, all right. Let's talk about the change that I made last week, or after the stream 2 weeks ago, actually. And I had to go back and rewatch the last 40 minutes because it's 2 weeks ago and I don't remember anything. And then I went into this code that I worked on later that day. And I've stashed it all now, so we're not looking at it. But I was looking at this what? Wait, what did I do? And eventually kind of remembered what was going on. So, okay. What I want to have remember is a filter that was typed and is abstract. And then there's different, you can basically have a tree of actual filters that you pass around. So that would start with combinatorial filters that bring other expressions together. And that would happen with either and or logic was the idea. So you can have two filters that either both must be true or just one or the other. And those are realized in these concrete classes, and filter and or filter. And then eventually you'd have a class dedicated to a specific data type. So these are filters finally for a specific thing, posts, and they know about actual fields that we care about loading. We care about discriminating on when we load these posts from the database. Like maybe I want new posts or old posts, depending on where a user is scrolling in the timeline, or they're searching for some text. And so we need body contains, Once we had auth, of course, we would add like a authored by filter here and all that stuff. So that was the goal, and that's kind of where code ended last week. But this combo filter, it turns out, was basically the problem. And what I needed to do, and once I delete the combo filter and the and or filter, then the type system starts to be a lot easier, because actually we can basically only use this post filter after I add an and an or filter to this. So we could say const factory post filter dot and this would take a, we'll just call it a list of post filters, children, and this will equal the and post filter. We'll do the same thing for or. And what stinks about this is every class that we ever add filters for, I'm going to have to add an and an or filter to, and I'm not going to be able to reuse floating generic and or filters. And that's what I like about it less, but it does work. This also means that filter doesn't need a type anymore, because it's completely captured by the fact, by this class post filter. So filter can now lose its generic outright, which is super helpful. And these things all just become objects. Object here. And then we actually don't have a from JSON on this anymore, because this is abstract. It doesn't matter. Freezed will add our to and from JSON down here where it does matter. This generic can go away. And now we get to a place where we're right in JSON, right in freezed and JSON serializable sweet spot. And we're going to have almost no trouble at all actually implementing all this stuff. So I'm going to need to run freezed again to generate these classes. And and we don't even need this enum anymore. As fancy as that felt, we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to run build runner and go back to the shared directory and then build runner. I think this one will do. Oh, Rabaz, no. It's not too complicated for you. So anyway, you're looking at your code, you're feeling a little intimidated. You're wondering if it's too complicated because it doesn't make sense, I guess. Well, it's not too complicated for you, I promise. I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm building on some patterns and things that, I've already just spent a lot of time learning. And so when you just kind of watch someone do something that they've already learned, but you haven't learned yet, it doesn't mean they're smarter than you, because you just didn't see them do the learning, right? And it's easy to imagine that somebody instantly picked something up and that they're such a genius. Oh my gosh, you do this thing that I don't know how to do. But it's really not different than someone who just speaks another language than you. It's like they've just learned the language. They put in the time, and they now can speak that language. But if you want to put in the time, then you'll be able to as well. So definitely, ask questions, stuff like that. But you're totally capable. I'm sure of it. Just saw me searching my command history. Have I heard of FZF? Whoa. No, I have not, but I am a Control R junkie. So if there's something that's even better than Control R, I'm pretty stoked about that. Okay. So now we need to add an apply rule for the and the or. So I add another function here. And all this one has to do is collapse all of the children. So we say, for and, we're going to loop over the children, and we'll use this list comprehension method so every single child has to satisfy this inner lambda that we pass for the whole thing to be true. And then we'll just use the children's normal apply method. and then we pass in, oh yeah, the object, that's right. So here we say, if it was an and filter, then loop over the children, and every single one has to have its apply method return true. And what is apply? This very method. So the children are going to also, they're all going to be ands or ors, which I'm about to add. And for or, the only change we have to make is every becomes, I believe it's any. Yeah. So if any of the children are true, then or is satisfied. And so all the children will be one of these 5 types. So this function will just recurse over itself until it is happy, which it is not yet. Why are you not happy? Oh, that's right. We have to add covariant here. So this was the one other trick that I had to pull as I was investigating. And it was actually remembering the covariant word that made this whole thing occur to me as a possibility. So let's walk through what covariant means. And this is going to be a quick visit to covariance because it's complicated. But we won't make it complicated today. So the abstract filter class has an apply method that takes an object. And I had to do that because I got rid of the type on filter, remember. And that is just because I'd prefer to have the type, but it's an outright limitation in JSON serializable. So I had to get rid of the type, and that meant that this couldn't be T anymore and had to just become object. Okay. Now in my class extending filter, down here, Postfilter, extends filter, I'm overriding that same apply method, but I'm not accepting any old object. I'm saying that I want it to just be a post. And that is a narrowing of the capabilities. Gosh, this tooltip is so aggressive. That is a narrowing of the capabilities of the apply method. And Dart is suspicious that I may have made a mistake because this method is supposed to take any object. But if I know that in reality, I am only going to I'm only going to pass to the apply method this narrowed space of possible data objects, then I can tell Dart, no, I know what I'm doing. And the keyword for that is covariant. And then there's other things as well. There's contravariance, which Dart doesn't have, I don't really believe. And that basically just goes in the other direction where you say, no, I mean to accept a broader type than the thing. But anyway, covariant, I'm just telling Dart, I know I wrote post here, and that's different than object up above. And, post is a subtype of object. And I do mean that I will only accept posts to this, not objects. Please trust me. That's what that means. What is the theme name? Well, the theme name is Synthwave84. And Mohammed, you win the prize. You have asked my favorite question that I get all the time. What is the theme? And it's very fun. Is there a way to feed the schema and filter criteria to an LLM where it returns the SQL or NoSQL query that can be used to filter? That's an interesting question. So, I mean, this actually is quite an interesting question. How would you use an LLM to generate queries is how I'm reading this. And you've got 2 possibilities. Like I see this as breaking down immediately into one of 2 categories. You generate your queries at runtime, or you generate your queries like right now when you're programming. And I probably wouldn't trust them enough to do this at runtime. The non-deterministic nature of LLMs means you could just get wonky queries, and I don't think I would want to do that at all. But you absolutely could feed an LLM your schema at development time and ask it about the kind of query that you want, and I bet it would do a pretty good job. Whatever your favorite LLM is, Gemini or other. All right. So this, I believe, makes this file correct. This filters, yeah, these are our shared filters. We've got generic stuff here. And then, maybe this post filter would actually live in its own file or something. Right now, I'm on track to have all filters of all files ever in this one all filters of all data types ever in this one file. And I don't really think that's great, but whatever. So next change we have to make is on the server side code that consumes these, because remember, we're in the shared code, but this apply method is strictly for objects that are in memory in the client. Applying, this could work for objects that were in memory on the server, but the server's probably not holding on to those. Maybe it is, maybe it has a big cache, but at some point it's going to have to be able to be applied to a query. So that's the next step. So now we'll go to the server filters file and make some changes. So yeah, we can see immediately that, there's still the generic type here. There's stuff we got to clean up. Okay. So first things first, let's get rid of the type, because that is just gone outright. Oh, and I figured out why this wasn't getting type promoted. And I think the answer is you just can't type promote. You can't type promote this. So I tried this as an experiment, and we're getting into who's on first situation here. Final filter equals this. And if I ask if filter is a type, then I can count on it to be type promoted. So I felt like that was nice. Got to get rid of you. And, oh, wait a minute. Is this combo filter? Combo filter went away. Yeah, I don't think we actually need to do this. Yeah, you can just go away, right? Okay, and then I'm going to have to make this expression true for post filter, which I don't think I've done yet. So here's a bunch of code for combo filter, and I'm just going to comment this out right now, but I'm pretty sure I don't need it. Okay, here's an extension on post filter, and it returns an expression. And even though we have to update this, I do wonder why. Oh wait, no, now it's happy. Oh, I don't know, it changed. Okay, my error was on line 47. Oh, different file? Well, I've deleted things, so maybe it was this file. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How long have I been doing this? Oh no, not showing code. Oh, this is an unrelated one. Show us the code. Can't see the screen. Anyone have Craig's number? Screen is not visible. Errors on line 47. I now get the joke. Can't see the screen. We'd help if you could bring up the screen. Good stuff. That's how you know it's live. It's like mashed potatoes with lumps. If your mashed potatoes are too smooth, they were instant mashed potatoes. And several minutes ago, they were powder. But if your mashed potatoes have some lumps, then several minutes ago, they may have been potatoes. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. Here's the thing. Line 47, totally clean. Take that, Randall. Oh man, I made a lot of changes. Goodness gracious. Sorry, folks. Well, I'll just do a quick undo here, because there was one interesting thing. I think this is about how I opened the file. And last week, I was struggling to type promote the keyword this. And it didn't occur to me that maybe this as a sacred thing couldn't be type promoted. So anyway, first I got rid of the types. And then I pointed out that if you just create a variable, that can be type promoted. So I did this, replace filter everywhere, and then thought, oh wait, combo filter, I got rid of that. So I'll delete this, and kept going, commented out some garbage. And now eventually filter has an expression object. And I think I'm still going to have to add a type check here for every type that I ever make. I'm going to have to type promote this every time, which is a little annoying. Anyway, we get down here to post filter, and it's time to add the and or support. Now we don't need the object here. Say oh no, wait, let me think. I'm just going to cheat and look at the code that I wrote at the end of the last stream. What did I do here? Apparently I did use, or whatever. So first I have a method called combine, and I'm going to just bring that over. All right, some folks are talking about pattern matching. I'll look at that in a second. I may be missing a pattern matching opportunity. But I'm going to copy in this combine method that I wrote later, and then we'll walk through it. But it's really similar, actually, to code that was written on the last. Oh, did I? Wait a minute. Oh, I did keep the and the or here. That's right. All right. Sorry. Enum, Boolean, logic, and or. Okay. So combine. It takes a list of filters and whether or not it is and or. And this code all happened last week. You start with an empty expression and then loop over the children. For the first one, you just take the expression of that child. And then as you keep going, you decide if it's an and filter, then everything you had before and the new thing must be true. And if it's an or filter, something you had before or the new thing must be true. And as we talked about last week, Serverpod is overriding these bitwise operators and applying Boolean logic to them, which is pretty clever. All right. Now what's going on down here? Oh yes, I actually have to write this code. Now we can call combine and we'll pass it the filters and Boolean logic and. Oh, this is children. Wonderful. And then or gets or. And what's your problem? Value. Oh, yeah. Okay. These will probably all have to become F. All right. Because value is not unique to all of these anymore because and or don't have them. So this is just a little freezed kung fu where if every single one of your types of a class has a certain value, then freezed puts it on the actual parent abstract thing. And so it's totally known that it's always there, regardless of the type. But if it's only on a subset of them, then obviously that can't happen. So value, it used to always know that a post filter, no matter what, would have a value merely because originally there were only these three post filters and they just happened to all have a value. And Freeze detected that and elevated it to be a super kind of important attribute. But once I added and or, they don't have value anymore. So I lost that ability. And so I basically just have to actually grab the filter type here and say that value comes off F. So not a huge change there. All right. Let's see here. You can use pattern matching to promote a local copy of the value. Oh, interesting. So I would like combine all of this. I would use like a case or something. I'm interested in what that syntax would be. I actually don't know what that would be off the top of my head. And then your case. All right. So switch this. Okay. All right. Actually, this does sound better. Switch this. And then, oh, right. Yeah. So the case would be post filter. Almost typed foo because I was in the example because I'm super smart. And then I think this one gets the colon. The case syntax is always, okay, I guess no comma. All right. So now, oh, wait, I have to give it a variable name. You literally typed the whole thing for me. All right. Return. Oh, and then I guess we could just return from here, and then we get to get rid of case, and then this becomes the arrow. Oh, but now I don't know if I don't know if this variable is a thing. Can I do f dot expression? I can. Woo-hoo! Awesome. Then you go away, and this becomes this. And I'm gonna probably need like a catch-all. Is that how this works? Throw, boo. And then this would go away. All right, so I'm almost there, but I have not defined the default one correctly. Dart pattern matching. Oh, final? Is that what I need? Case post final expression. Oh, final F throw. Okay. Final. Nice. And then this is apparently unneeded. Definitely is unneeded. All right. Hey, look at that. That's great. That is so much better because now we get exhaustiveness checking. Wunderbar. I tell you, whoever added patterns to Dart, somebody give him a raise. It wasn't me. I'm not advocating for an increase in my own pay. It should throw an exception, right? Yes, I agree. Because the funny thing is, oh, this is interesting. I don't even really want to write this. Oh, okay. Here's the I need like a sealed class or something, right? Yes, exactly. Yes, Dev Nico said the same thing. But can this be a sealed class? I guess if I can live with these all being in the same file, right? So if this was an abstract, or maybe I do need to do like interface or something. Abstract sealed. Where do I write sealed? Maybe sealed interface. That was like a thing. Interface sealed. This is literally how I code. All right, sealed. I don't know. Dart class modifiers. Make this bigger so everyone can read. All right. So the things that I'm interested in are interface. All right, interface. You define libraries outside the interface's own defining library can implement the interface but not extend it. This guarantees that when one of the classes I don't think this is sufficient for me. Interface vehicle. No, I don't think I want interface. Sealed seems like the winner, but where do I write it? Oh, I think sealed implies that it's an interface. Abstract interface. Yeah, so you combine interface and abstract. Like an interface class, other libraries can implement but can't implement like an abstract class. A pure interface, yeah, I don't think I want that. What does final do? You might be surprised to learn that I work on this team. Just seeing if anyone has literally typed the answer, but I don't think yet. Okay, final. To close the type hierarchy, use the final modifier. This prevents subtyping from a class outside of the current library. If I'm willing to put all of my filters in one file in the front end or in the shared library, which I could even make a little easier with part files, then this might work. Disallowing both inheritance and implementation prevents subtyping entirely. This guarantees that I can do fancy things. Right. Interesting. To create a known enumerable set of subtypes. Sealed. Yeah. I don't think we wanted final. I think I want sealed. Which is what everyone's saying. This allows you to create a switch over those subtypes. It's like Craig. It might as well say Craig. This is what you want. The sealed modifier prevents a class from being extended or implemented outside of its own library. Sealed classes are implicitly abstract. That is why I wasn't able to type it correctly. They can't be constructed. They can have factory constructors. Wonderful. That is what we want. Okay. So sealed. Oh, after all that, I somehow actually walked away from the file with it in the correct state. Just amazing. Okay, save. And when I go back here, yes, this is now happy. We don't need this catch-all. That would have prevented exhaustiveness, and it made no sense. This is great. This is wonderful. I love how you're all just trying to learn me good. Sealed class equals abstract class. Also same library required, but you can still put it in multiple files through part. Yep. Cool. All right. Alexandre, I got bad news for you. We can never die. Like a zombie, we will rise again. No, there was no killing. And the live stream shall continue. So buckle up, buckaroo. Okay. I have the server side and the client side of this ready to talk to each other. There is actually one change that I'm going to have to make due to Serverpod's thing. Serverpod custom serialization. Serverpod for now passes a second parameter to all the things. and it's going to go away in the future. And I can't wait for when it does. But for now, I need to put in this second parameter, which I apparently am still importing. I think transitively through Chirpy client, which is maybe not the best way to satisfy that, but there we go. Anyway, this is documented in the Serverpod stuff for custom serialization, and it literally tells you exactly what to do if you're using freezed. So nobody get confused with this being me being like super smart or anything. It's just well documented. In config generator.yaml, we have to declare what we're serializing. I don't know if I'm doing that yet. Config generator YAML. So this is still the old thing. Filter is abstract. That'll never be serialized anymore. See you later, buddy. Just post filter for us. Okay. I'm not going to stress these problems too much unless they're on the server, because what I want is run serverpod generate. Oh, here's one on the server. Oh yeah, wrote some. So this is now just going to be a post filter. Cool. That's super much nicer. Love it. And remember, this post filter is optional. That's what obviously the brackets mean. It's not even a list, because if you want 5 filters, you just wrap them in an and or an or whatever. So you just pass one filter object. I think it's still pretty cool. All right, endpoints. We got more of this apparently. All right, yeah, I just got to run serverpod generate for that. I'm going to try it now. Let's run it now. Serverpod generate. Commander, you may generate at will. What? Couldn't find the serverpod dependency. Are you running serverpod? Are you running serverpod from your project's root directory? No, I don't think so. What? Huh? Darn it, pub get, but I did this earlier. Let's just try it again. Oh. Aren't I? Oh, I'm in the shared directory. Oh, yeah. So there's this problem that I have in my brain, because I have a really smooth brain with no wrinkles in it, where if 2 words start with the same letter, then I'm powerless to discriminate between them. And so chirpy underscore s, they're all the same to me. They're all the same. All right, here we go. Generate. Can you Dockerize anything? Oh, you're asking a specific person? Oh, yeah, you are. Okay. Oh, here's one. Sorry for the question out of context, but can we Dockerize a Flutter application? That would be a little odd. I mean, I guess it depends on what you want to, where you want it to run, what kind of, generally it's like you Dockerize generally like server-side things, because you can't really Dockerize like a whole phone where you might want your Serverpod or your Flutter app to run. So I need to know more info there, I think. All right, let's see here. What's going on? Post filter. I think we just got some simple cleanup here. Post filter, simple if you can type. And then, yeah, this probably doesn't. Repository is likely filter. Oh, yeah, just no T. There we go. That's nice and simple. Unused import chirpy client. Okay, I have no idea, but we'll get rid of you for now. Repository. Yeah, this class I did want to put some work into. And once this works and runs, then we'll make that happen. Oh, yeah. Okay. I have to run freezed generate again to pass through that second parameter that Serverpod needs to use. So we'll do that. Back to the shared directory, build runner. And then I think that will work. Recently migrated from GetX to Block. Best decision of your life. Well, I bet it wasn't. I bet you've done better things than that. I like Block though. Don't mistake this for a diss to Block, but more belief in your life. I think you've done something better. I really think so. Expecting. Oh yeah. Wait. Hey, Victor, are you still here? Actually, I was seeing this the other day, and I think what I actually did. So I have this other project that I've been using Serverpod on, and I literally wrote a script for it to modify the protocol files and remove the second parameter because it's not. It doesn't seem to hurt anything when you do that. The because freeze doesn't like this. Expecting from only one thing. Yeah, see, it will accept a second parameter if you have a generic. Do I have to say like use generic generators or factories or whatever the thing was? What was the error that it tried to give us that I clicked away from? All right, so this was in Postfilter. No, it's just in shared filters. So there's like a parameter for this generic argument factories. This may tell it to be happy with the second one, but I think it's still going to be mad that it's not the correct type. Is there? How do I do this? Like the docs say to do this, but what they don't say is what to do if freezed is mad at you. Yeah, see, it doesn't like it. But the other option, and this is literally what I do in my side project, is I'm going to do it manually right now, and that's a bad idea, but I have a script that goes through and deletes all of the moments where it wants to pass in the protocol to the deserialization methods. What's your problem? List post filter. Oh, do you also need to be covariant? Cool. Victor, if you're still here, how much is me doing this making you want to pull your hair out? / how much do you think I'm going to later regret this? All right, here's some test data that we can fix. What's your problem? Oh, you need covariant. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to have to update this test. I really don't want to do that right now. Dang it. All right, we'll update this test. So you need an and an or. Boo. Thing is, these work just so differently. Yeah, this test is kind of pointless right now because the actual implementation is deviated enough that none of this is really useful. And we do need to revisit this test, but I'm not going to do it right now. There's been enough just tinkering with code for 2 streams now. I want to see something run. Okay. What other problems do we have? Still waiting. We may have lost Victor. It is late in his evening. All right, whatever. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Try to have a clean build. Oh, yeah. I think this is published too. Okay. I think we're down to just to-dos. So that's neat. So let's run this. Oh, no, I have to run freezed. I have to run freezed again because that still hasn't worked. So in shared filters, let's get rid of that second parameter. I did. So now I can do build runner. And this might work. Haven't worked with Serverpod yet, my child. You don't have a ton of ideas about it? Well, I don't think a lot of people have used Serverpod a ton yet, which is why I'm talking about it, because I think it's super cool. All right. Freezed ran. if I ran Serverpod generate, I'd get a bunch of errors again. All of the moments where that second parameter is passed into the deserialization method that isn't used anyway, which is why I just delete it. So now, I dare say, we may be able, actually, what's in my make file? I'm going to try to standardize these a little bit. Server build, server migration, server migrate, and then this could be server run. Yeah, and then this could be app build and app run. That's nicer, I think. All right, so let's run the server. Do you need to use freezed with Serverpod? You don't normally use code generation. No, absolutely not. You do not need to use freezed with Serverpod. I just really like freezed, so I am using it. Okay, the thing is running. The server, the client shall soon be running. Make app run. And for the final trick, what we're going to do is first make app run no rule, because we need to go to the thing. First, we're going to run the app and watch it load all of the data. Then I'm going to apply a filter in the post repository. And we're going to pick out a combination of filters that will load a specific subset of the things if it works correctly. And we'll run it. And hopefully we'll see those load. And that will be great. Yeah, Serverpod only Dockerizes the database. Is plural there, I think is good. Postgres and Redis. So Postgres, obviously your relational database. That's the ultimate source of truth. Redis is your cache. All right. So here is Chirpy, the greatest social media app in this or any age. Loading all of the things, because despite all of the work that we've done to wire up this filtering, we're not using it yet. So let's create something maybe, let's get like loaded earlier than this date, maybe. I don't know. Something that'll get like these 5, and then also containing the word or like containing the substring, maybe post. So that would get us, oh no, I need something that would also show something from the bottom. So we see that be filtered as well, because none of these say post. So how about contains the letter O? That's in almost all of them, but not in sixth sense. So contains O and like earlier than one of these times, and then we'll just get a couple from the top. That's what we're going to do. Post repository. And I'm going to hard code this in here. Where do I want to hard code it? Do I want to hard code it? It doesn't really matter. It's going to be very silly. I'm not even going to use the, well, no, we'll pass it in from the page, I guess. Timeline block. That's probably where we want to do this from. Load timeline. Here we go. This is where I'm going to pass a post filter, or no, an and post filter. Yep, there we go. Okay. Already excited. And this was a one positional parameter, right? Oh, wait a minute. Why is that happening? So the post filter takes, the load method takes a filter, but I apparently never put that on the base thing. Okay, that's funny. And then this is, of course, just a filter. Huh. Thought I like already had to add, oh, here's load down here. What is going on? I need more space on the screen. I'm getting a little lost. Oh, there's list, which then calls load. Right. So filter has to be passed into there. I was getting confused with list and load. Yeah, honestly, that's not great either. We're going to have to sort that out. Okay, timeline. Timeline actually calls list. Great. So now we get a post filter and it just needs to be imported. So we need to import shared, and now we need to pass it to children, which will begin with a post filter. I guess this could just be, let's go with this constructor for all of them. Okay, so body contains, and let's give that O, we said, because O appears in all of these except 6 cents. It's funny, every single other one has an O. And then I also want timeline or values greater than, I'll go with go here's, which I can't copy because I didn't put selectable text on. So let's load post-to-co, chirpy, post, and that was go here's. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this value, copy. And where was I? Oh, I'm totally lost. Great, here we go. The next thing will be a post filter dot created after, and this will be a date time dot parse, and all of this has a string. Okay, think that'll work. Let's refresh. Yes, I would like to allow the thing that I just wanted to have happen. All right, to the app, new post. Woo! Oh, it should have grabbed fifth post, brother. Because that also is after and has an O. Uh-oh, we have a bug. Uh-oh. I was definitely expecting 2 things. Yeah, right. These are going up in value only. Weird. All right, let's see the query that was run. I think that'll be valuable. Is it possible to view the source code? Yeah, sure is. Every week when I'm done, I push the latest stuff to the repository of the greatest social media app of this or any age. So there you too can follow along. Okay, there's an app that you can use with Serverpod, which is super cool. I think Serverpod. All right, it's opening on my other screen. I'm going to sign in over here. No, I seem to already be signed in. How does this work again? Manage projects, chirpy server. Yeah, that's right. Why does it appear twice? Whatever, select. Okay, so here I have this. Null. Oh, these are errors. When did this happen? I don't know how old these are or not. All right, I haven't used this a ton yet. This is the other thing that Serverpod comes with, this companion app to help you debug things. Yeah, so this tries to link me to something. I don't know where it went. Did it crash? Oh, it crashed. Uh-oh, okay, not a good start. That could be because it was holding a link to some old code. Not a great out of the gate showing for this, but let's keep trying to use this because you can view queries in here somewhere. And yeah, endpoint, this feels like it's kind of like it's stale. I don't know how to make it like resync. I also don't know how to delete projects. Like, what if I click this other one? No, that's the same. What does this do? Oh, log all sessions. What about queries? Log all queries. I definitely want that. Okay, save. Let's try it again, I guess. So reload the app. That will reload the page. That will again have the error. And then, refresh. There we go. There we go. Cool. I got a query. Let's copy the query. Let's see how this worked. Into post-to-co we go. I'm going to run this query myself. Actually, I'll save that. Yeah, just one. So why? Huh. Let me make this bigger. Sorry, folks. So here's the query that we're trying to run, where post body like O. So if I get rid of all this, we should get all of them, except 6 cents. So that's good. And then and post.created at is greater than this time. And if I get rid of this, we should see 3, I believe. No, just 1. Is there? I think, is this actually running it as a datetime? No, it's just passing this as a string. Oh. Oh, it's passing it as a string. Yeah, Victor, you're right. So what did I do wrong there? That would be in server filters. Oh, there's probably like I'm probably doing this wrong. Created at ooh, what kind of date comparison methods do you have? Let me hide myself here. I'm blocking some of this. Is there a date comparison method that I can use between equals inset, not between? I need like greater than for date times. Does that exist? Oh, oops. I want to go back to this. Oh, wait. I should move myself to this side. So smart. Let's look at the documentation. Serverpod. Compare date times. Actually, let's just look. I'll get myself out of the way again. Make everything bigger. Database connection CRUD. Where's like queries? Relation queries? No. I don't think this is going to be what I want. Where's like, how do you do? Where's filtering? Caching, logging, modules, auth, upload. Oh, filter, literally right there. Been a snake, it would have bit me. Okay. Do we see any date? Oh, here we go. We got some date times. Oh, it just mentions date times. But, oh. Yeah. Not. Oh, I don't see like greater than. For. Yeah. Greater than actually is the value of string. I don't think so. I think I want it to be a date time. So now actually what I want to see is Postgres compare date times. Oh, I guess all I need to do is put : date time at the end of the string. Is that right? So back to Postico in the query. So if we got rid of the quote and did date time, kind of thought that might get syntax highlighted. Yeah, date time does not exist. Timestamp? Still only 1. That didn't work. Why does this say 05? Wait a minute. Why did that become 05? The value here is 04. There is only one greater than 05. But how did it become 05? All of these say 04. How did that happen? What? So in the timeline block. No, here it says 05. Okay. And then the time is 17. It seems to be applying the offset. It's Converting it back to UTC. Yeah, that's it. Yes, look at that. You guys are on it. Let's go. Okay. So if I put Z at the end here, then it maybe won't do that. Oh, I bet this happened in the datetime method, in parse. That's where it probably happened. Aha. Aha. Look at that. Hey. All right. Nice. So the whole datetime cast thing actually didn't really matter. So let's see. Sorry, I'm just bouncing around from window to window here like a lunatic. So in Postico, if we go back to the query, this, well, first of all, if we just make this 4, if I could type, and the hour's wrong, I don't know, this was like 17 or 19 or something. I don't know. Whatever. We're going to get, I don't know. Okay, now we're getting more. So O is 1721 is what I wanted. 1721. Okay, so you can it's still giving me all of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But if I get rid of this, still getting all of them? Why? 0404. Oh, I put 17 in the minutes and I wanted to put it in hours. I'm telling you guys, I swear I know how to computer. There we go. Look at that. Now everything makes sense. So this whole datetime or timestamp cast situation doesn't do, I guess it's just default now or something. Interesting. All right. So lesson learned here. The Postico or maybe all of Postgres, I don't know, representation of, yeah, Victor says everything is stored in UTC. That makes sense. That's the only sane thing. But the Z at the end of the timestamp string representation, which is what indicates UTC, that just wasn't here. So then when I copied it into this value with no Z, parse probably, well, I don't know who did actually. I don't know where the time zone came in. It might have come in parse, or it might have come in Serverpod might have done the conversion. Maybe it was parse. But somebody stopped doing the conversion when we added this. And then the records that were expected to loaded. Yavraj, is that a backend with Dart? Yes. Yes, it is. So if you thought Dart was only a client optimized language, get ready because it is more than that. All right. I'm going to get rid of this filter because it's hard coded and doesn't actually make sense for the UI. I'm going to commit this code and then let's do a little maintenance on this repository that is super broken and stinks. So what code all changed? Makefile, yeah. The protocol, oh right, and I've been deleting the this from everywhere, so that's not the best. I should bring over that script that I have in my other project, use it here as well. Yeah, this all looks good. I tell you what, this is some mighty fine looking code here. Yeah. Ain't got no generics as far as I can see. Oh, yes. I added that, so I added the filter, then I deleted the filter. Now I don't need it no more. Yeah, look at these filters. Okay, this is hard to follow, but whatever. This code worked. All right, all of you in the pot. Yeah, looking good. Everybody in the pot. Good stuff. So this will be working client and server side filters. What are you talking about? Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. There's an interesting question for you. Serverpod versus Firebase. Well, it depends on what database you want. If you want a NoSQL database that automatically scales for you, and yeah, if you want a NoSQL database that automatically scales for you, then you want Firebase. If you want a relational database that does not automatically scale for you, but which isn't like, it's not that hard to scale. You just go into Google Cloud and you say, make it bigger. Then you probably don't currently want Firebase and you instead want something like Serverpod. Serverpod can use Firebase for auth. So you can have a situation where you use both. In fact, I think that's probably going to be somewhat common for people, depending on the auth flows that they want to support. There's also, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Something about, they both have functions. That's what it was. They both have functions. How performant is Dart for backend use? Yes, definitely performant enough. It also builds really small Docker images, which is awesome. I haven't looked at how big the Docker images are for Serverpod, but I imagine they're still quite small. The smallest possible shelf server side Docker image is like 9 megabytes or something. It's so small. It might even be smaller than that. It might be like 7 or 8, which leads to, it helps your cold start time problem in something like Cloud Run. Yeah. Fake news, baby. We're here going strong. All right. It's time to do some maintenance because this repository class is really terrible. It's horribly written and it stinks. And as I say often in this mini adventure, this mini series of building a server pod, if all of this code that was in my data layer was in my block or my river pod provider or my Redux reducer or my MobX, whatever noun MobX uses, I would already be thinking, oh man, my state management is really falling apart. And I maybe need a new library that has better guardrails for me. When in fact, the problem would be that I need to get all of this data loading complexity into its own layer and worry about that there and leave my state management layer just as a conductor. Doesn't know how anything works, just knows who should do work when. That's it. State management shouldn't know anything about anything other than whose job it is, not how they do it, not what's going on, not was the data loaded locally or did it come from the server? I don't know. I don't care, says state management. So the complexity is in the repository, and it is, now it is still time to tend to this garden a little bit because it's super terrible. Okay. So the main thing, we've got just 2 functions right now, save and list. And then they delegate to these other functions like load and persist. And that is kind of your first bit of ugliness, because I was, again, already forgetting, like, should I call load or should I call list? And, the filters like weren't applied to all the function signatures correctly. It's like, this is immediately falling apart. And let's apply some real structure to this. So the first thing that I want to do is get to the right files. All right, in the shared directory. So I have this data folder that is currently only exporting filters. Where does the repository come in? Where are you? Oh, the repository is only on the front end. Okay. Well, this new code that I'm going to write will still be in. Does it have to be in the shared directory or can it be on the front end? Probably can be on the front end. All right. That's where it'll go. Get out of here, shared directory. Oh no, I'm looking at Flutter. Perfect. Okay. Oh, I was looking at the other one before. That's what was happening. All right, let's make a new file in the data thing called data contract. And this is what all the things have to do if they want to go out to recess. Data contract. Did anyone else have recess kind of held over their head as a threat to illicit good behavior as a kid? If you don't do whatever, then you will not get to go out to recess. Or was that just surely that's a global thing. Surely that's universal. Mohammed, we've talked about that a lot. You're welcome to scrub back and watch it earlier, but asking the same question 4 times is probably too much. All right, so we've got this new idea of a data contract that is going to define how everything works, and then repository is going to become like a layered thing. So let's see how much I can type in an hour. I don't know if we're going to get to auth today. So class, no, this will be an abstract class, data contract. And yeah, sure, you will have a data type because everything else had a type. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And yeah, we're going to have a save method for sure. And we're also going to have a list method. And for now, that is it, though other methods will come. Filter, bring you in from the shared library. Wonderful. So save and list, that's all we have for now, but there will be more. Okay. So the repository is now going to extend the data contract. And we'll have to import that. And the repository, so far, it actually, it satisfies that contract. Nothing is wrong, or no changes we technically have to make right now. But I want to differentiate talking to different sources from the act of like there's conducting stuff and then there's actually going out to different sources. So this persist method in save, this was, write it to the database, send it across the wire. And then there was this line to cache it. That's kind of like write the result. So we saved it to the database and we got some response back, maybe basically the same thing, but for it now has a primary key. So that could be like one source that the repository has, it's remote source. And then it could also have a local source, which then the object gets written to. And so the internals of this save method could be a lot different, and they will be soon. List could kind of follow the same pattern. And then the fact that we have list and load right next to each other will go away because load, well, we'll see how this works. And I'm going to start with save. So the first thing that the repository is going to need, actually, I'll make a new class first. And yeah, I'm going to call this a source.dart. And this will import, well, first we'll just say abstract class source. T extends data source. Nope, data contract. T, we have to import that. Okay. But a source will maybe have a concept. I'm wondering, like, do I want to have, should a source know whether it's remote or local, and then the repository can kind of do some conducting based on that? Or yeah, maybe there'll just be an even simpler thing, because that would like put stuff through a list. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to have a local source, we'll call it. And then this one can be maybe the Serverpod source. Okay. So the repository is now going to take, I don't need to do that again, required this dot local source and required this dot serverpod source. And we'll save those as things. Local source, serverpod source, All right, looking good. Oh, this should be data. And then we'll open that file and add sources to this. I will rename it. Let's make it plural. Move source. Oh, goodness gracious. Source.isDart. All right. Now, these will not be abstract. And we're going to actually implement some stuff in these methods. So first, how should save work in this world of having a local source and a Serverpod source? Well, what it's going to do instead is say final saved item equals await Serverpod source dot save the item. And we're going to guarantee that these function signatures are the same all the way down. And then we'll say local source dot save saved item. Okay, that's looking good. And then we return the saved item. This is going to be way better. Local source and remote source. Yep, that could be good too. I can imagine having different types of sources, like maybe there will actually be third-party APIs and I make network requests too. You might have Firebase. If you use Firebase auth, you could use Firebase as a cache for some stuff, right? Maybe, so anyway, you could have different kinds of remote sources and maybe you name it, maybe remote source is like a subclass or an abstract class and then Serverpod subclasses. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that could make sense as we kick the tires on this more. You're definitely right. So local source and Serverpod source, this now, oh my gosh, so much simpler, the best. Let's look at list. What should this do? Well, list first needs to check the cache. So we'll say final items equals await local source dot list. And we'll pass the filter. And there's a list is way more complicated. So I've built a pretty intricate system like this before, and list has a ton of complexity. Like, do you know that you got all of them? You might have asked for all of the records that have O in it, and it's like, well, I'd loaded a single record before, so that was returned, and now this kind of seems like a cache hit, but really it's still a cache miss. And we'll get to that complexity later. Right now, we'll just kind of note to do. This assumes any results are a full cache hit. So we'll get to that later. But for now, we can say if then items dot is empty, then, and I guess maybe we don't want this to be items. This could be just list of T. Then items equals await remote source dot list filter. All right, I got your idea in my head already. And if we get those items, then guess what we're going to do? Local source dot, we can say for item in items, local source dot save item. Good stuff. And then we return the items. Oh boy, look at how. Oh yeah, and there were sorting issues. I guess we'll just keep that for now, but we still need to kind of tend to that to do. Yeah, maybe sort these when they go into local source, and we could know that they come out of here sorted. All right, list is looking good. Max create, that was this refresh idea. I think I'm going to worry about that later. Don't really care about this yet. And all of this gets to go away. All right, cool. And this local cache goes away and it reappears on the local source. Okay, that's looking good. Is there anything else in here? We know we're down to just to-dos. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. We're getting more votes for remote source. Okay. Oh, I guess the class. Oh, yeah. I see what you're all saying. All right, fine. You all win. Oh, wait. I can just, here we go. So this will be remote source. And then we'll have an actual Serverpod class that extends remote source. Okay, that's looking good. And so now this is a, well, this is going to happen. Remote source it is. And this is the remote source. Changed all the names. You all win. That's better. Yeah. Yeah, one. On account of being better. Can I deploy the AWS Lambda function or Google Cloud functions using Serverpod? Yes. They're called, what are they called? They're called something. They have a name. And I don't know what the name is. But I promise they're a thing. Yeah, if you watch one of the talks about Serverpod, you'll see that as well. It's a thing. Oh, I think I know where to find the name. I believe they're referenced in the generated server.dart file. Future calls, that's what they're called. If you're using any future calls, they need to be registered here. Yeah. Yep. So you can have functions that run at different times. Oh, you believed me? Thank you. All right. I'll close that file. Back to the action. Okay, this sources file's got a lot of work to do. So let's add some overrides. And for list, here we can say return local cache dot values, right? So that's all of the objects that we have, and we need to apply the filter. So in theory, filter dot apply to list, had the foresight to make that method, could go in here. Are you mad? List object can't be returned because it has a list of future t. Okay, as when this needs to be async. So as a list of t. Okay, now it's a problem. Method applied to list can't be conditionally evoked. Oh, right, of course, yeah. Right, so it's like if filter does not equal null, then we do this. Otherwise, we're going to return the local cache dot values. All right, let's see what's the issue here. Iterable t can't be assigned to the parameter list of object. Right. Oh, it'd be so sad if the whole thing that I've been excited about completely broke down. Notice the 2 dots in the sort function. Is there any reason that there are 2 dots before the method? A keen eye, Nikita. Yes. So in the repository class where I saw the 2 dots. So in Dart, that's called a cascade operator. And what it does is help in a situation where a method returns null because it modifies the original object. So sort returns void, which is even less than null. And that means if I just did items.sort, I would not be returning the items because I would be returning void. But if you use the cascade operator, then it performs the operation. But at the end of the operation, what you have waiting for you is actually the object that you started with instead of the return type of the method you called. And it creates a chain. So if you need the object and not the return value of the object. Well said. All right. If this breaks down, then I am going to cry. Argument of type iterable t. Now, is this just because I need to do toList? No, sadly. It's going to say list of t can't be assigned to list of object. Okay. Oh boy. Really makes you sad that there's no generic on the filter class. Oh, interesting. So, can I... Boy, does this feel terrible. This stinks. This really stinks. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, man, oh, man. Oh, goodness. If filters... Oh, man. I'm sad. Wait, there's a thing? Use a collection literal builder. A collection. So return for item in local cache. Return. Wait a minute. That looks like Python. You can write that in Dart? What did I miss? Mosin, you're like, what did you miss? Like, what did I miss? This is Dart code? 3 years? Oh, there's when it was added to the Flutter widget build methods. Oh, it's that trick. So what I'd do, run or return for item in local cache dot values. And then we need like final, I guess. Or no, what? I don't know what for. Randall, what do you, I don't know what to write. I don't know what you mean. Anyway, I think what you're talking about is basically going to do the same thing as this, but I'm curious what it is. For final item in. Okay, we got another thing to test. We're trying out. Oh, whoops. Sorry, Mosin. For final. Oh wait. No. Return for final item in local cache dot value. Yeah, this there's something I'm missing. Totally something here. Like, oh no. Oh, this would go in the list comprehension. Is that what you're saying? And then this would be values, and then we would return this. Oh, why did I not have to cache that? Oh, that's literally what you were saying. Wait, no. Oh, the only issue with this one, I think. Oh, this one. Why did I need to do anything here? What was the problem here? Oh, it was just to list. That's all I actually needed to call here. I didn't need to cast that, which is why this list comprehension also worked, though I didn't know you could actually write this. Okay, well, that's valuable. But I think I'm just going to stick with the to list. Oh, but man, I really am sad about having to cast this as an object so that it can make its way into something like a post filter and be turned right back into a post. Oh boy. I'm going to leave it for now, but Not my favorite. All right, let's do save real quick. Save is easy. Yeah, local cache of item.id equals item, and maybe we can have an assert here in the local. So we're going to assert that item ID does not equal null. Oh yeah, this needs bindings. I don't remember what these were called. Bindings. No. Data bindings. No. Something in the repository. So the idea here is that we just said it's T, and it has no idea model bindings. It has no idea what a T is, and there's no guarantee. There's no promise in its mind that whatever this T is going to have a .id attribute. And so I created this class called model bindings that is supposed to bridge any of those gaps. So this is where we'd say, you can pull out the ID. And then we'll say that the item ID is not null. Otherwise, we cannot locally persist an unsaved item, because that doesn't make sense. And then we persist the value. It's interesting that the assert didn't type promote that. Maybe because asserts get cut out of, I don't know. That's interesting. I guess asserts get dropped from a compiled production version, so then it's not there. Okay. Cool. We can get rid of you. All right, so this is our local source, ultra primitive, has a little bit of ugliness on this cast, and there's a giant to-do on the fact that we don't know if returning any results here actually means, especially if there was a filter, we don't know if that means we got all of the stuff or not. Also, there's no pagination or anything. Yeah, T extends some base class, yes, is the way to do it. But the reason I'm not doing that is that I don't control the base class of every Serverpod model. And I'm not committed to only using Serverpod models in this repository pattern. So I can't inject a base class in the top of the Serverpod tree, and I might want to use this for non-Serverpod models. So a little gap, a little bridge to jump that gap. All right. What's the problem with save? Oh, we have to return the item. Yes. So this is kind of redundant for the local. Oh, and this has to be async. This is a bit redundant for the local version, but it actually matters for the production version. And it's important, I think, to keep all of the what word am I trying to say? I'll get there one day. Keep all the function signatures the same. That's what it is. All right, now the Serverpod source is actually pretty interesting, because if we remember in the data repository, which I'm going to pull back up, data repository, and I think I deleted, oh no, I haven't deleted the code yet. I have deleted the code. Or did I comment it out? I seem to have deleted the persist method. I'm so smart. Anyway, what this was doing is actually calling specific generated, a specific generated endpoint method. And that isn't a thing that we can predictably call in save. We can't say client, assume we even accept a client, right? Which we'd obviously have to do. So this could take this dot client, maybe final client, And then we grab this client. So we still can't say client dot post, right? That was the post endpoint because we don't know that we're the post server pod source. So this one is trickier. But I think if we accept, maybe we accept the methods, that could work. Let's see how that goes. I don't know. If we accept the methods, and we also may not need to accept the client. Yeah, that's right. That's interesting. All right, we'll see here. So the first thing this is going to need is a function that returns a future of type T and is going to accept. So let's see, it'll be this dot save. What is this function going to accept? Well, it would be just a T, actually. I think that's it. What's your problem? Can't define field save. Oh yeah, so this will be like remote save or Serverpod save or save handler. I'm not sure what to call this. And I think all we have to do here is say save handler item. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we'll get another one. This will return a future list of T, and it will take a T and a filter. And this is the list handler. And this is going to return the, oh, it doesn't take a T, it just takes the filter, which is actually optional. List handler filter. And then you need also the list handler. Now, right now, this is, of course, nothing more than pass-throughs to these functions. But what it gets us is some structure in that we're following the data contract. And if there is actually ever kind of some extra juggling that we need to do for a specific source, we could subclass this, do that juggling. Maybe we know we need to apply a certain filter that always must be there or something. And in that subclass of the Serverpod source, it could implement list, modify the filter in some way, and then call super.list or something. Osama, every time he says T, mine redirects me to T. Well, I hope you like T. Otherwise, that would be really frustrating. Oh yeah, Rando, you're talking about function interfaces and protocols. Yeah. So I think for that, this goes back a few minutes. So I'm guessing you were talking about, well, I don't know. Was that about the top level, like the bridge between Serverpod classes and other things in the data bindings, or was that, or were you talking about this class that I've been writing here? Serverpod source is nothing more than taking a bunch of functions in it. I'm curious. More easily deleted than created. That's true. Yeah, that persist method that I wanted to go back and look at, gone. All right, so I need to make a Serverpod source now. We gotta have some broken stuff in, yeah, where we make this post repository. So the post repository used to, yeah, look at this. Post repository is like totally crazy now. Let's get rid of load refresh. We're not worrying about that. The idea of getting the local results or forcing a refresh is super valuable, but I don't think that should be a standalone method. It should be like a parameter on list and load and whatnot. Anyway, we don't have, we don't actually, post repository, this is funny. We're probably not even going to need to have a post repository class anymore. We can just instantiate a repository of type post, I do believe. Though I don't know how that would play into our fancy automated use of get it. I know how I would do that if I was not using injectable, but I'm not sure about this one. So I guess for now we'll leave this alone, even though it's not my favorite. Anyway, this doesn't take a client anymore. This now needs to take a local source, which is totally generic. So this is just a local source of posts. And then we do have to load you. Oh, what's going on? What does this new thing look like? Oh, they're all named parameters. Well, that's fine. What are you all whining about? Remote source. And this will be a server pod. Oh, they were all whining about the missing last parameter. Okay. And the local source, you also needed the bindings. I wonder if the bindings should maybe just come from, well, the Serverpod source is going to need that as well, isn't it? They're all going to need this. I wonder if it should get the bindings from get it. Does that make sense? Probably, right? I think I will do that. I don't want to have to get these bindings. I don't want to have to pass these in. Let's do get it dot by model bindings t, and this will be the bindings equals. Now I'm gonna have to register that, of course. Oh, this is definitely nicer. Yeah, I'm gonna do this for you as well. Okay, that one's still good. What are you whining about? Oh, you don't have the bindings attribute. It's like, bruh, what are you trying to set? All right, I think that's nicer. We'll get those out of whatchamacallit. This probably also means that this repository could do the same thing. So you don't take bindings anymore. And instead, you just get the bindings from get it. I model bindings T. And we have to import get it. Oh, that's look at that. Look at that. All right, now the Serverpod post, what's your problem? Yeah, this is where we take the list handler, which would be client. I guess the post repository could take the post or take the client. I don't know. But it's not even going to have to save it. It's just going to use it for client.post.list. I was hoping this would work. Oh, it's mad about the types of filters again because of the lack of types. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh man. So now we don't need any of this garbage, just total garbage. So the post repository becomes very simple, except for the problem with All right, so we had that protocol question when you were talking about the function interfaces. In other words, that is protocol now. Oh, what? Get back here, microphone. I'm not really sure what to do about this. I am not sure what to do about this because, oh man, it's just so sad. It's so sad. I want to do T so badly. I want all of these things to be T. Who was that again? Osama? We need to have a tea party. I want this to be T and I want this to be post because I think that would fix so many things. Oh, wait a minute. This might work because I didn't try this until after. Oh, that's interesting. So generic argument factory is true. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I could do this. Let's run the builder again and see if Serverpod actually, or if freeze can and JSON serializable can do this. All right, I'm in shared build. I don't know. Listen, folks, I barely know what I'm doing. Someone asked, do I work for the Flutter team? Who was that? It was a minute ago. That answer is yes. So if you are suffering from any imposter syndrome, allow me to vanquish it for you. Okay, so that did build, which is interesting. Wait, did it build? It did build. And this was actually fine. This didn't need another type. And I think that's because I don't have a type here. Oh, ew, whoa. So this doesn't even need to be a thing. Oh, this could be a big game changer. This could be a huge game changer. We don't need covariant anymore. That's huge. That is super huge. Okay. All right. So now the repository here, this now takes a filter of type T. But we have to go back to the data contract to make that real. Okay. That looks good. So we're all fine here. And then back in the post repository here, this should now start to say, oh, filter dynamic. Oh, that was probably in the Serverpod source. Yeah, because you need to be updated. You're now filter of type T. Oh, I need the lint for whenever you don't specify a type. I need that lint. Back in the post repository. Now you're still mad. Let's future type post, optional post filter, can't be assigned. Okay, so what I think I need to do is actually go all the way to Serverpod's endpoint, or a server endpoint, the post endpoint. I think this now needs to become a filter of type post, I believe. And then I have to generate, and then I have to delete the extra parameters again. So I really need that script. Server generate. This is interesting. I'll be pretty excited if this works. Pretty excited. All right, so we have to get rid of these again. This is not how you do high-level development. Immediately edit your generated code every time. I thought I was going to have to take it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I knew it had to come out of more places than just that. Okay, close those files. Now we're still not happy about this. So what does it say now? Filter post. It still says can't be assigned to the parameter type filter post filter of type dynamic. So there's just one other place where I need to add the T. So that is good. And yeah, you need this, but I don't think that was our issue. And then we don't cast you anymore because that would break everything. And then we don't have to do this cast anymore because that's redundant. Oh gosh, look how much better that is. And now back in the post repository. Where is the one place where I'm missing? The argument type list, post, function, filter post nullable. Can't be assigned, so it's all the same. Oh, it's not nullable. It's not an optional parameter. Can't be assigned to the parameter type. So somewhere I didn't make it optional. Was that in the data contract? No, you're nullable here. And you were definitely nullable on the post endpoint. That's nullable. Still missing it somewhere. And in the base repository, it's nullable. Yeah, nullable is it. Missing one T. So it did say dynamic, but I don't think that was actually the biggest problem. So hover over this again. As Randall pointed out, and maybe someone else, the argument type future list post function, and then it's an optional parameter of the filter type. So that's what I'm assigning. But the slot can't be assigned to a type almost the same thing, future list post. And then in the function, the parameter is nullable, but it's not optional. I think that's a problem. It also mentions dynamic, and that could be also a problem, but certainly the optionalness of the parameter. So list handler in Serverpod source, list handler. Oh, I'm so silly. I'm just so silly. It's right here. There we go. There we are. So now back to, let's close some files. The post repository is happy. Yeah. And then we're going to go to Iowa. And then we're going to go to Michigan. And then we're going to take back the White House. Yeah. It's a little US politics from like 2004 for y'all. Okay. Cool. I'm going to delete some random things that we don't need. We're down to just to-dos again. Love it. All right, coming up on 2 hours here. So I'm just going to run the app. And if it runs, I'm going to call that good and figure out what to do next time. I ran Serverpod generate, so I'm going to restart the server. And I have no idea what the state is of the app, so I'm going to restart the app. Are the braces the difference? Yes. Yeah, so in Dart, the braces, so if we go back to here, the braces here mean that the positional parameter is optional. If these were, if this was curly's, then it would be a named parameter. And for this function signature, I'd probably have to provide a name. Makes sense for a named parameter. Now this would by default be optional until we pass until we use the required keyword. But for positional parameters, being required is the default, and brackets imply that it is optional. Okay, what is the issue here? Something didn't work. Let's look at the server. The server says no deserialization found for type filter post. Oh, right. This is why. This is why. This is why. Yeah, generics on classes that you send back and forth don't really work with the Serverpod generate thing. And I could add filter to it. Right, so we could go back to generator.yaml and I could add filter, but it's not going to handle the generic very well. And it's still just not going to work. I'm obsessed with getting this to work. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen today either. But I am obsessed with getting this to work. I will get it to work. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, let's recap where we're at. Shared filters. So if I use a generic on this class, everything works so much better. Oh wait, there's one other thing we can do. Maybe this can still work. Server endpoint, post endpoint. If I can get it to work where this still says post filter, then we're okay. Then we would be okay. So let me do another generate. Might go over here because I'm completely obsessed with this. If post filter works here, so I'm going to make server build. It might be time to actually look at some of the code Serverpod generates. I've spent a lot of time looking at that code, but I haven't really done it on stream, and that could be confusing. So the issue, actually, I'm going to fully do it. Generator, let's add filter. Let's walk through what happens if I add filter. And then remember, filter has a generic here, okay? So we generate again. And then here is some of the generated code. So we're about to see just plain old filters show up here. But look, they don't have a type. And what I would really want, right, is I'd want it to be like, well, a filter of type, post, which probably comes from, so like performing radical surgery here. What I would need it to generate is a filter of type post, use postfilter.fromJSON. And if it could generate this code, then it would work. But it doesn't generate this code because this code is kind of crazy. And I just don't think that they imagined anyone writing this. Maybe one day it'll be a little more flexible. But anyway, what are you whining about? Oh yeah, filter from JSON doesn't even exist. Yeah, so this is another thing. Now I have to have, I would actually want basically this for every possible type instead of this, right? It's crazy. I don't even know if it's reasonable to expect Serverpod would ever generate the code that I'm talking about right now. So having this abstract class with a type in the system at all is no bueno. No bueno. Doesn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work. So this needs to be post filter, and then we go back to the generator and we get rid of the abstract class, we generate again. So that is like why it wasn't working. And I don't think it's like Serverpod's fault per se. So we'll do the standard, get rid of those dudes, and come here, get out of here, goodbye. All right, so I've made my serialization update. But now the question is, so I was running into this before. This was the issue. If we highlight over this, we can see that the argument type that I'm passing, right, that list function is a post filter. And yet the slot is just filter post. And we know that all filter posts will be post filters. We know that those are the same, but it doesn't know that. So I wonder, can I just make a silly little lambda? So what I'm actually passing to this is a filter post, and it's nullable, and it's a filter. It's optional and nullable. And then I'm going to call list, and I'm going to pass the filter like as a post filter. Now, what are you mad about? Argument type, and then you might need to be async. So the argument type future list post expression filter post can't be assigned. Oh yeah, we're so close to being there. Wait, why not? Those are absolutely the same thing. Future list post, function. Oh no, it's not nullable in one of them. Oh, I put the question mark in the wrong spot. All right. This might work. Wrap it in a class, add Postfilter to the generate file. So I do have Postfilter. Postfilter is being generated and it's working flawlessly. And then you wrap it in a class method or idea. I think this also solves. I think this basically handles that. Because again, we know that these will always be the same. There will never be a different type of filter post other than post filter. We know that. It doesn't. And so it's sad. Let's see if this works. Make server run. Well, that's kind of fun. It's like a sentence, you know, make the server run. Satisfying. Make app run. Oh, I've never thought about this as like a, you know, I'm just talking to the computer in plain English. Could you do a fast walkthrough of the project structure? Sure could, especially if this works. All right, now we got to use a filter, and if the filter works, you know, because right now we're not even passing the thing, so the serialization code is not being called. So let's pass a filter, and then it'll be better. So, right, the list handler, I'm going to go back to the timeline block, and where list is passed, this is where we'll say a post filter, maybe body, why don't you, body contains here. Some of them contained the word here. So does this work? No, it exploded. Boo. Oh, get it. Yeah, no, I didn't ever actually registered the model bindings. Okay, I'm going to cheat and just do that myself. I know I'm supposed to use injectable. Main.dart. Get it. .I. .register. Get you. Oh, goodness gracious. Get it. No, that's not what I wanted. Get it. Get it. Oh, I'm on the server? Goodness. Totally wrong main file. Flutter main.dart. Oh, yeah, I got all these. Okay, and then this bootstrap method. There we go. This is where this should have been the whole time. Configure dependencies. Love it. Get it.I. And this will be model bindings of type post. Register. How does this work again? We call. Oh, okay. Singleton? No. What am I doing wrong? How do you do this again? This is the overest I've ever gone. Get it.I. Oh, the type goes later. Register. Get it.I. Register singleton. Oh, now I'm typing in the wrong spot. Guys, you got to take my computer away from me. I don't know what else to tell you. I shouldn't be allowed to have a computer. Register singleton. There we go. Goodness. And then this would be a const post bindings. Holy smokes. I don't think I've ever made an easy thing look harder in my life. Do I have experience with React Native? I do not, but I do have a lot of experience with React DOM from quite a while ago, admittedly. I really liked React. I enjoyed it a lot. I have not used it in a native context. All right, the filter didn't go through. Why did that happen? I'm pretty far over right now, but I don't really care. Serverpod, done. Oh yeah, refresh. Okay, this is the last thing that went through. Look at the thing. No query at all. Nothing happened. So I just didn't pass it. Okay. You gotta love, this is cool, man. This Serverpod feature of this inspector is nice. It's like, what the heck just happened? Oh, there's no better source of truth than looking at the query, which did not contain a where clause. So we know where to look, which is a where clause not being passed. So the repo list method, this is from timeline. Okay, so we go into the repo method, local source, pass the filter. If it was empty, which it would have been because there is no like persistent cache, so we're not using Hive or anything. So on a fresh app start, this will always be a cache miss. And I did a hot restart. Oh, actually, it could have cached. I don't think so. I don't think that's what happened. Anyway, so then the filter gets passed to the remote source. The remote source. So here's our list class, which does pass it to the handler. Ah, man, it feels like I'm wearing it through. I'm confused. And yet it shows all of them. Refresh. Oh, interesting. On the server, what are you getting? Post endpoint, print, filter. Oh, there's probably like a cool log functionality. I know there's cool logging in Serverpod that we could use instead. Okay, this one just didn't work. Model bindings post. No, it's there now. That's there now. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, this is awkward for you because it's there now. All right, what will happen if the backend is updated? This is a super good question. And are we still showing the cache data? Is there a way to handle this? Yes. So, man, I'm super annoyed by this filter not going through. So, if the backend changes, right, which you kind of just always have to assume the backend is going to change, then you will be showing stale data. As they say, there's only two hard things in computer science: naming things, cache invalidation, and off by one errors. So if your server changes, which you can't know when the server changes unless you ask it all the time. And if you ask it all the time, then there was no point in caching anything. So whenever you hold on to cached data, there is a assumption that you are willing to be a little stale. And if you cannot be stale, then that is data that you probably cannot cache. And caches have, in general, a life cycle. They expire after a while because everybody knows, like, even if you thought that data would be stable for all of time, give it a month or a year and like maybe it changed. I don't know. So let's actually invalidate it long before that. So caches might only live for like a day or something to really preserve the ability to go fetch updated stuff. Now, this is all in memory. So this cache will be flushed anytime somebody closes their app. But your question still stands. What if they know they want to refresh the data immediately? And for that, you apps have the pull to refresh thing. So we would need to add, and this will happen at some point, to the contract class, a like refresh parameter, some way to tell list that it needs to refresh. Or maybe there will be another method called refresh. I'm not really sure what I want to do about this, but this one could force going to the server and then still cache it, still write it to the local cache, whenever it gets back. But that would just basically come up to like how to get around a stale cache is either you, the developer, have predicted and you're calling the refresh method, or you've allowed a user to say like, no, please give me the latest thing, and then you call the refresh method. But that's a super interesting question and a super interesting aspect of computer science. All right, now I'm really going over. Let's have the quick tour of what's going on, and I'm going to have to live with this bug for now because I'm out of time. So Nikita asked for a quick walkthrough of the project, and that we shall have. So this is using Serverpod and Flutter. So the way this works is Serverpod generates, can I zoom in? Will that work? Oh, nice, it does. So Serverpod generates 3 different folders for you, whatever your app name is. And this is Chirpy, the greatest social media app in this or any age. And it generates a client, a Flutter, and a server directory for you. And the server is what runs on the server, of course. This is your totally normal Flutter app, nothing funny going on here. And client is a bunch of generated code that connects the two. So this client can get imported into your Flutter app and it knows how to talk to the server. And then if you want any more code of your own, like other classes and other libraries and whatnot, you can just make more stuff yourself. So I made Chirpy shared. So that is, whoops, scrolled the wrong direction. That's the super highest level. Beyond that, I haven't done a ton. There's only, not even doing auth yet. Hoped to get to it today. It's way too aspirational. There's only one relevant model in this class so far, or this project so far, and I can see that by going into Chirpy server, lib, source, models, and the example one is generated, so that doesn't really count. And post is real. So I wrote this file. It's obviously super advanced. Author one day will be a relationship to a user, but right now it's just a string, and I don't even think I'm using it. And this is the only object that is in this class or in this project at all. Now, Serverpod has generated some SQL to get a database table, and then I ran that SQL. Actually, Serverpod also runs it, but I allowed Serverpod to run it. And Serverpod generates ORM stuff for this. So we can write and execute Postgres queries from Dart for this class. And the ORM is really nice. So that's on the server. Then you write some endpoints that you want to be called. And you write those in the endpoints directory. And I've added a file post endpoint that, oh yeah, by the way, we can see there, the filter did not go through. So somewhere something isn't getting wired around. And yeah, this is unsurprising that this was null given the behavior we're seeing. You write the functions that you want to be able to call from the front end. The session is a magic parameter that has like database connection information and whatnot. And then you use the ORM. So the save method for post simply saves the row. And this insert row method returns the post class. So we're good. And then I want to be able to have a getter. And I've been obsessing over these declarative filters. And that's been the whole subject of this and the previous stream. And again, you just use the ORM. And then it's kind of all been about trying to get these declarative filters working correctly and being wired through the data layer in the app, which you can find in the data folder. And somewhere right now, this post repository is dropping the filter on the floor. And I don't know where it's happening because the repository here, actually, first, it doesn't even implement the method. So the list method here takes a filter and it passes it to the remote source. And we know it's getting to the remote source because we're seeing queries hit the server. So the remote source's list method gets used. And the remote source is here, but really it's a Serverpod source for us. And so the list method takes a filter and it passes it to the list handler. So again, it is not being dropped on the floor. And then the list handler was supplied here. This is our list handler. And the filter appears and is passed. So I'm pretty confused. I'm going to add a print statement here, and that will be where this ends. return and print post repo dot list filter, and the answer. I'm kind of losing my mind over where this filter is going. It's interesting that when I hot restart, then it has a problem getting this out of then it has a problem getting the information, getting the bindings class out of get it. I don't know why that's happening. Mysteries abound. Will the server backend be written in Dart? Or are you doing it in another language? All Dart. It is all Dart. You could call this project a dartboard. All right. So on the front end, we don't even get that print statement. What? Timeline block. What? So you get a repo, and that's a post repository, which is the class we're talking about. And we call repo.list, and we're passing in the filter, and that goes to here. Okay. Print repo.list filter. Surely this one is getting called, right? Oh, this is a good error. You'd love to see that. I don't know what I'm doing that is upsetting hot reload so much. You're welcome for the walkthrough. At some point, I'm going to have to just walk away from this bug, even though it is driving me crazy. There's no print statements. What is happening? Print. Hello? Main development. I'm not like... This is absolutely crazy. What are we talking about? How are there no print statements? The timeline view immediately adds the load event, and the load event is a load timeline event, which gets routed into load timeline. Via this. I'm going to include a Flutter clean if this one doesn't work. I mean, it shouldn't be going to the debug console. It should be coming here because I'm not running it from the browser, or I mean from the IDE. No coffee, no inspiration. I actually didn't have coffee today. What is this? That is such a great name. Do you just show up everywhere and be confused and ask questions? Because I mean, that would be great. And then your name would really be applicable. You're just like, hey, someone tell me what is this? Where am I? Okay, this time it actually errored. And it's what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, maybe this needs to go above. I think it might need to go above. I'm pretty sure it needs to go above. Let's just try to run this. For the love of God, would you just work? So the reason I think I had to move that is there's stuff in configure dependencies that also is trying to read this. And normally injectable handles your dependency graph for you. And so it would register this really early, but I'm cheating and just doing it myself. So I have to do it early. Except there's still, oh wait, no, I apparently have to run Flutter clean every time now. I don't know, this is silly. This is the last command. This either tells us something interesting or I am done for today. Let's go back, run. We either get interesting information and pursue that interesting information, or I quit with my tail between my legs and curl up under a blanket to cry. I'm ready for you to build. I'm ready. Big money, big money, big money, big money. Open. Look. Wow. I had to Flutter clean for it to build again. You know what? I've actually been seeing this in places. I think there's... Okay, so I'm not going crazy. There is like a problem in the Flutter toolchain, I think. And sadly, I have just documented it in really spectacular fashion, but I have no idea what to make of it, other than I'm going to talk to the tooling team about this because it's pretty wild. Okay, folks, the filter goes through. That's exciting. And we can see it in the query. Look at that. The text is small. You might not be able to see depending on what your device is like, but the query has a clause checking for the existence of the substring here. And that means everything's great. And I'm so happy to commit all of this code. I couldn't be happier. Mega yay. Everything pretty much works. Hell yeah. Commit. And push. And that, my friends, will do it for today. There's obviously something very weird going on with the Flutter tool. If you would like to read bad habits from the code base of this project, then you're welcome to do so at my GitHub/Chirpy, the greatest social media app in this or any age. Oh boy, that will do it for this week. I look forward to continuing something next week. Honestly, I've been so busy with IO that I have done functionally nothing other than stuff for IO. And that is why there has not been any other topics at all for quite a while. I'm really enjoying this Serverpod little mini series, but obviously I want to continue to have on guests and interview people and learn about a wide variety of things and try out different things and whatnot. For a while, it's just been all Serverpod because both I love it and I haven't really had the time to pursue guests and other topics. So next week, maybe more Serverpod. If so, I hope you're enjoying it. If not, I apologize. But whatever happens on Observable Flutter next week, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you then.